I saved that, like screenshotted it because I'm starting to adapt some of them. But the one person said something like when they drop something or break something, they like end scene. They always say it as if it was like an intentional performance.
But I love it. It's true. It helps to let go in a fun way.
What up? Welcome back, bitch. This is Strong, Well-Fed, and Outspoken. If you're new here, first of all, just know that when I swear, it's always said with love. And
you do love that one. Like,
yeah,
it's choice when we use it, but you do love that one.
yeah. It's I don't think I swear too much otherwise, actually, but that's my word.
You do like that one.
And it's always said with love. So hi, hey, welcome to the podcast, Strong, Well-Fed, and Outspoken. If you're new here, you already know the deal by now. This is how chaotic our episodes start. Or sorry, if you're not new here, you know the deal. If you're new here, you're going to learn the deal really quick.
This is it, yeah.
Yeah. My name is Rusty. I'm one half of the team here.
And I'm the other half, and I'm Nell. What is up, gang? And we were just talking before we hopped on about like letting go of control. And that kind of leads into this week's episode.
Yeah.
Because if you know anything about us, I'm going to use this term lovingly, but we're both control freaks.
Oh, yeah. Like type A all day.
But what happens when life doesn't allow that, right?
Yeah. For sure. So like even on a personal note, so obviously we're going to today's episode, honestly, you guys, we really wanted to talk about how you can wind up eating off plan for whatever reason, which we'll dive into, and still make progress. Mm-hmm. And this isn't, you might have clicked on this episode based off the title, because that's probably what we'll call it. But you probably clicked on the episode thinking like, cool, they're going to teach me like how I can get away with not following my plan and still making progress. That's not what this episode is really about.
Remember last week's episode where we said, stop cheating yourself out of things?
Yeah, exactly. This is not that, okay? That would be ironic if we really did that.
Could you imagine? These girls are nuts.
Yes, honestly. I know we are all over the place with ADHD and everything, but we're going to keep it structured. We're going to stand by what we preach. So yeah, this is more along the lines of like how to eat off plan when like things don't go your way. That's probably the biggest one.
Yeah, just in the last 2 weeks for me, I've been living without a fridge for 2 weeks because I live in the boonies. And it's like, oh, it's warranty. We have to order a part. Oh, there's no technician because I don't live in the city. Yep. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about, right? When the plan is there, you're living it, it's good. And then what happens, right? Right now I've got a couple of clients, leaks in the house, right? Kitchen renos, all kinds of stuff happens. You pack your lunch and then you leave it on the counter.
Yeah. Oh man. I remember once actually like literally making this meal that I was so pumped about eating back when I worked. I think I was at a gym at the time, and literally it was like time for my lunch, and I like opened it and I had packed, because like if I make regular food for our dog as well, and I grabbed the dog's food. No. Yeah. I was like, no, bro, this sucks. So there's always going to be situations that come up. Do you have like a specific one that always like really grinds your gears more than others? Like, is it like food or just like planning your day and it not going to plan? Because I think for some people, they're more like attached to some things than the other, whether it's like their meal plan or their schedule. Or
for me, it's definitely schedule. So for a long time, I didn't know I struggled with any sort of like ADHD stuff. It wasn't until I was well into my 30s that I learned that. And I was the oldest kid. So it was on me to kind of make sure everybody's schedule worked, right? Like I was doing sports drop off when I was 15, 16. So I'm like, this is your block. This is your block. This is your block. So if things don't go to plan, or even if I'm like, it was lovely chatting with you, but I'm going to go now because this call is over. I really struggle with that.
Yeah. Fair enough. I think I am better about my schedule because I feel like as long as I get in certain things each day, like I have my like daily time with God, and if I'm planning to I at least get my steps in,
because like your daily pillars that are
I Yeah, and I was gonna say workouts, but I think especially with the health phase, like working out less and less. Back when I was like really like bodybuilding style prep, having 5 workout days a week, like you don't have much room if you can't make it happen. So if my schedule changed, it was more of a stressor. Now it's a lot more go with the flow. I would say food is probably still like the bigger one for me because I honestly love tracking my food. I love being in control of my food, and so when things don't go to plan, that's probably the one that still grinds my gears, but not from the sense of like, I don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to pivot. And that's really what we want to help you guys with here. It's okay if it grinds your gears because let's say you're like, I'm really looking forward to eating something and that doesn't happen, or you bring your dog's food to work with you.
Yes.
Um, but what we don't want is we don't want you guys living in a state of like stress because things have changed and you don't know how to pivot. And then you wind up eating off plan and feeling like, I suck. This is ruined. And then the whole day, the whole week, the weekend, the month goes by because it just turned into this like stop and start cycle that you've probably fallen into in the past, right?
Yeah, it's kind of that difference between like a slip and you get back up or going down that entire mountain on skis, right?
Yeah.
And I think you mentioned food kind of. I actually think I got really good at pivoting with food because of lifestyle, right? Like I'm married to a shift worker.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm expecting dinner to be at 5 and he goes, I'm not going to be home for another 6 hours. And I'm going, time to pivot, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I think
Yeah.
I got pretty good at it that way.
Yeah.
Also, I've also worked multiple jobs at the same time, and so you have to get really good at like, oh, I have 10 minutes right now.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And that's actually like a huge thing here as well, right? It's just having the experience that teaches you how to pivot. I
Because I think
think,
the first time someone has to pivot, they panic because they
yes,
haven't had to deal with
definitely.
it before, and then it shuts you down, right? When you panic, that's
Yep.
fight, flight, freeze, right? And you often pick flight and freeze.
Yeah, 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 yeah. To be honest, like this is maybe like a little sadistic, but as a coach, I actually love it when a client, first of all, is honest because we always
Mhm.
want that. It's safe space, 100%. But I love it when somebody says to me, like, something happened this week and it didn't go to plan. Because whether they nailed it or, they just were like, this is what I wound up doing, I'm like, yes, learning opportunity. The reality is, like, life is always going to be throwing stuff at us. So the more lessons we have about what happened, like the choices we made, or maybe what we could do next time, the better prepared we're going to be. Like you just said, right? Like you're married to a shift worker. You've literally had experience after experience of getting good at this.
Hmm. And actually, one of our clients here, if you're listening, I know she listens to the podcast, so shout out. She went on vacation. It went beautifully. The plan worked, whatever. Went on vacation again, different resort, different access to food. Plan had to look different. You didn't realize until you got there, right? And so
Yep.
it's simple things like that that can really be like, oh, I didn't plan for this. What do I do now? And how do you make that work?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. It's funny. I have a girl as well, who we set up an entire plan. She's in France for like a week for work related stuff, and then she's meeting some friends in like Amsterdam. So we actually set up like 2 different plans based off of, because one thing, as we talked about in the vacay episode as well, guys, right? One big thing we always want to look at is what's your version of success. But guess what? Although we had this entire plan, her bag did not arrive, and she had put a bunch of stuff in there to help her, with the plans we had set up nutritionally, workout wise. And so for the first 48 hours, she had none of that. Guess what we had to do? Major pivot, major pivot.
And I think
Um,
this is an important part to make because a lot of times we're like, oh, I had to pivot. I had to pivot. Not.
mm.
No, you don't. You need to plan. We're talking more like when the plan falls apart,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, 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 yeah. I honestly, one of my favorite things to say in any situation is there is no such thing as loss. There are only lessons. There
Yes.
really are. You guys don't lose a day. You didn't lose a week. You didn't lose a meal. You're learning as we go here, right? Imperfection, whether it was imperfect because something was out of your control, or it was imperfect because you were like, you know what, I caved. I wound up eating off plan. It was like intentionally, that was my choice. It doesn't matter because the imperfection allows us to grow. It leads to
Mhm.
more understanding for either why did we actively choose to not follow the plan, or like what happened that we can be better prepared next time. Knowing how to pivot is a huge life skill. When you have to get pivot, yeah, like sorry, when you have to pivot, it's exciting because now we're going to learn. You're going to become more confident and more equipped for the future.
Yes, and as you're learning and you're viewing it as a learning opportunity, it allows you to like let go of the negativity, the shame, the
Mm.
guilt, the blame, right? Because so often that's our default emotion when
Mm.
the plan does have to change, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, very first thing I would say for you guys is like how to eat off plan while still making progress. Is the first thing is understanding that there is no such thing as there's no such thing as losses. There are literally only lessons. When you go into any situation or environment, you can automatically feel like the stress drop in your body because you're no longer carrying this sense of like, this sucks. What's wrong with me? Which kind of leads us into point number two. You need to change the way you talk to yourself. So if your mindset going in is, okay, I wasn't expecting this, no matter what, I'm going to learn from this, then right away, number two, we can drop any type of shame talk, any type of blame, any type of guilt. One decision to eat off plan, if it was an intentional decision, doesn't have the power to throw off every other meal you ate, even that day, right? Like if you eat four times in a day and one meal didn't go to plan, that's 25%.
25%.
That's
Yeah.
nothing. That's minimal. When you
Minimal.
look at that, a course of a week, a course of a month, a course of a year, what are you fretting about, baby? I think
Yeah,
the,
we talked about this over the holidays, right? Like
yeah,
even those planned meals, that's a handful of days out of an entire year. It's the same
yeah.
thing here, right? One meal a day, one honestly, even if the weekend goes to hell, it's only what 3, 6, 9 meals most.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's really it's nothing at the end of the day. I think the big thing that I know even in the past I used to fall into the mentality of is recognizing that like my mindset was truly the thing that was preventing me from making more progress than the actual like off plan that didn't work out.
And I think that's probably true
Because
for both of us. We talk about mindset so often because
Mhm.
that is truly something we've worked to navigate and worked through ourselves.
yeah. It was so easy. I think as well, like we're so hard on ourselves and sometimes we believe we have to be hard on ourselves in order to make progress, but I think that's a very big lie. But if you're in a position where you feel like you've tried plan after plan after plan and it hasn't worked, and now you're like having good momentum, you're seeing success, and one thing pops up, it literally feels like as if somebody had like cut the
You're
tracks
like,
on the tree. Yeah, like I can't move forward now. I remember I used to say to myself, just honestly, like things like, you suck. Like, why can't you ever get better at this? Why does this keep happening? Why aren't you prepared? You're a failure. You're never going to figure this out. Like, absolutely, those were all the thoughts that ran through my mind. But it was the problem was that, first of all, talking to yourself like that feels like shit, but
mm-hmm.
then you also wind up believing those thoughts, right? And you kind of create, again, we talked about this last week, but you create your own outcome because you are now literally telling yourself you will never figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this will never work for you. You're a failure. You're stuck. You're out of control with food. And so all of a sudden, that one meal that I could have easily carried on with turned into emotional eating later on that day. And then even worse feeling the next day. And then that feeling of, I just give up because clearly I do suck. I'll never figure this out. And that's what really has people, I think, starting and stopping more than, again, just that meal out and moving on.
Yeah, because I used to do the same thing with my workouts. I would feel like if I missed a day, I had to stack it up, and then I would be so sore, and
Yes.
I would just it just compounded. And suddenly, I'm doing 3 workouts on a Sunday instead of
Mhm.
going, "Hey, you know what? 10-minute walk is going to be a great option," or just go do your workout that's scheduled for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing, right? It's those little things that I was allowing to be bigger and honestly snowball on me.
Yeah. One thing I started doing when I was really trying to, well, first of all, when I recognized that I was having these like terrible thoughts and it probably wasn't helping me, was again like being a very competitive person. This helps, but I used to challenge myself as if like, um, have you guys ever, was it called Seven? I can't even remember. Have you seen that movie where it's a few years old now, where Buddy has like multiple personalities?
What's the name? I
And
have no idea.
it's oh man, I this is gonna drive me nuts. It's a really good actor too. It was from like a almost like the superhero, one of the superhero
Oh,
lines.
okay.
But basically, he's like in the second one, at least, he's like in an insane asylum. They capture him, and he has like 7 or 9 different personalities or something. But anyways, it was almost like that in my mind. Like, okay, if this is one aspect of who I've been, and this is who it is I'm trying to be, can the version of me that I'm trying to become challenge the person I am now by actually like proving to myself I'm changing by
Mm.
carrying on. You know what I mean? Like if I've always told myself that like, okay, I mess up or something goes off plan, and it wasn't even necessarily on me, but we tend to carry that on us. Instead of following the same pattern of I suck, I'm going to fall off, can I actually prove to myself that I can let this not bother me and keep going? Because there's something inside that was always like, no, you messed up, you have to like start over, and then that felt debilitating, so then I just gave
And
up,
like
right?
deeply tied to your identity then, right? And by doing that, you're letting that go, right? I
Yeah.
talk about like negative self-talk or a perfectionist tendencies the same way. And like if you work with me, I've told you this. I'm like, you need to name that. So when it
Mhm.
comes in, you can tell that person, obviously it's imaginary, to bugger off, right? It's the same thing, right? Or like we joke in our house, every time something breaks, we blame it on like our imaginary person, because
Yeah,
it's then not a personal slight. It's not a personal attack on ourselves, and we can move forward
absolutely.
and away from it.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, on that note, again, kind of off topic here, but I don't know if you saw, I had posted, it was somebody else's post, but it was literally off TikTok, and somebody had said, like, it was for the women, but they were like, what are some ways that you like just make your life like cute and
Oh, like
positive
yeah,
in
like
a good way?
whimsical, yeah.
Yeah, whimsical, exactly. And that was one of the things. Like one person, I saved that, like screenshotted it because I'm starting to adapt some of them. But the one person said something like when they drop something or break something, they like end scene. They always
Yes,
say it
right,
as if it
yeah.
was like an intentional performance.
But I love
I
it. It's
love
true. It
it. I
helps to
love
let
it.
go in a fun way because it
Yeah.
really does detach from that like negativity, the guilt, the shame, right?
Yeah, yeah. There's another one I loved where they had said anytime I have like an emotional breakdown, when it's done, I simply say to myself, "Well, I'm glad nobody overreacted." I keep going.
I love
Um,
that.
yeah, I'm using
One
this
of
too.
one in our
It's
house is like when because my husband and I we're a little bit dark in our sense of humor and stuff. So
no,
if one of us will say something a little off color, the other one will look be like, "Are you proud of yourself for saying that?"
yeah. I
I love
love
some
it. Like
whimsy.
it's honestly it's something that I want to just like even be better at myself. Like
Yes.
just like the stuff like rolling off your back, it makes life fun. It really does. And so it's funny that, we look at the goals that we have that should be empowering, that should actually be fun. We talked about this. We do team calls with our clients every month, and we had ours yesterday, and we talked about this, like not seeing your journey as miserable. When you see your journey as miserable and then something comes up that was out of your even control and it throws you off plan, you sit in that misery, right? You don't know how to let it roll off your back. You don't know how to have fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was almost like I said, like I used to start challenging myself in that sense of like, okay, this is what I always do in the past. I always give up. So can I actually get uncomfortable? Can I actually be competitive with myself and say, no, you know what? I'm just going to keep going. And as I started to do that, even though it was messy, even though it felt so awkward, like how dare I keep going when I just messed up? I actually also started to subconsciously prove to myself, like, I am becoming a new person. It
Mm-hmm.
is literally collecting evidence that you are changing, even though it's messy, even though it's imperfect. It's a sign that, hey, I'm actually not who I used to be before. And that, in and of itself, actually wound up becoming something that I was proud of. Even if my progress felt like stagnant for a while, just knowing that I was doing that, I wasn't starting over, I was continuing on, was like, wow, this is so cool because I am different than who I was before.
Because that really leads into like I think one of the things to help with pivoting is coming back to your why, right? Like
Yeah.
why did you start this in the first place? And all of those little votes for that person that you're becoming really lead into the why you started in the first place.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think the understanding is huge too. For a lot of people, when something goes wrong, all they see is, and again, even myself, right? All you see is like something went wrong. I didn't follow the plan.
Yes.
That's all they see. So then, of course, the shame and blame comes in. They don't actually take a moment to be like, what actually happened here? Because not all reasons for eating off plan are going to be the same,
No,
right?
not at all. I think if you've ever been a human, you've probably experienced this. Like on a daily basis, the plan changes, or
Oh
your
yeah.
reason for not eating, quote, on plan is the same or different.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Not all reasons for eating off plan, yeah, are the same. I think we tend to think about that. Like if I was to say to you, why does somebody not eat on plan? You probably would be like, well, not necessarily you, but like, the collective you. Most people would probably think automatically like, oh, well, they had a treat yourself moment, or it was a date night,
Yeah, someone
or
invited me out for an event. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But what about the moments where you're stuck in an airport? What about the moments when your food went bad or you brought your dog's food instead of your food? What
Yes.
about the moments where like your kid is literally throwing up and your entire focus is on your kid being sick or your kid being hurt or there's a family emergency? We tend to always classify not following the plan as in it was like we were careless, we were lazy, were just
Like
not
we
being as
yeah, we
committed.
elected to move away from it almost, right? That's where a lot of those
Yeah.
social events come in.
Yeah, and so of course you are carrying so much blame about that because you're associating it with laziness or just not caring, when in reality there's nothing to feel shame about when you drop everything because your kid is violently ill or there's a family emergency. There's nothing to feel shame about when your food genuinely just went bad.
Yes, I don't want you to send me a message and go, "Hey coach, I failed because I had to eat at the hospital cafeteria."
Yeah,
No. That
no,
wasn't
not at
something you
all.
planned for. The fact that you ate when you were going through a really stressful situation is actually a huge positive that I'm hearing.
Yeah, choosing to show up for your family does not mean you suck at this. Choosing to be present with a loved one, choosing to understand that you had to work overtime and you missed a meal or again you accidentally brought the wrong food with you does not mean you suck at this. It means you're a human being.
Hmm.
None of and to be honest, even if your reason for not eating on plan was because you did decide to go out with a girlfriend, literally none of them are worth beating yourself up for. Now, I would say, like, if you're recognizing, because again, if our goal here is to understand what happened, and if you're recognizing that your reason for eating off plan was because you were emotional eating or stress eating, I would actually say that, well, first of all, still, none of them are worth beating yourself up for. But this is actually good because when we're talking about stress eating and emotional eating, you actually have way more control in these situations than being stuck in an airport.
Yes.
And so it actually gives us more of an opportunity to understand ourselves better and change. And that's one of the biggest things, I mean, we work on with our clients when it is those reasons.
Hmm. Yeah, I absolutely agree. So, I mean, we've talked a lot about like sort of how to navigate the, I would say like the mindset side of it.
Mhm.
Do you have any like practical tips for these moments that have happened?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, like, yeah, I guess actually knowing how to pivot. For me, it's always going to come down to instead of thinking about what action I have to take, it's first thinking about what makes the most sense. So, it's like understanding the scenario again. So, you brought it up before perfectly when you said like understanding your why. So, for me, I jump back into like, what is the version of myself I'm currently working on slash trying to create? What choice would they probably make? Okay. Because as soon as we get our mind into, again, focused on like who it is we're trying to become, it allows us to align our actions a little bit better based off, again, our future self rather than the emotion or frustration that we're likely feeling in the moment.
Yeah, because this is where we can start to make, I would call them like more informed choices, right? Like, let's
Yeah.
say you, all your meal prep's gone, or it's your dog's food, or whatever. What are you currently working on? What does your plan look like? Are you focusing on increasing fiber? Are you focusing on hitting protein goals? This is where, when you do end up in a drive-through or at a restaurant or something like that, you can pause and
Mhm.
use those tools to help you with your pivot.
Yes. Yeah. 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 So, number one, definitely it always comes down to the mindset. It always comes down to understanding like what your goal is, who it is you're trying to become.
Hmm.
What choice would they make? Now, depending on the choice they would make, I always think about giving yourself a couple of options, because there's a very good chance the first thing you think of might still not work out. So you want to look at like, what are three things that like three options that I have right now. Out of those three options, what is the best choice for both who it is I'm trying to become and also what I need in this moment. There's nothing wrong with recognizing that what you might need in this moment might actually temporarily look different than who it is you're trying to become or what your normal plan would be like around that situation, right?
Yes,
Like
absolutely.
against somebody who's stuck in a hospital, maybe they're there for a family emergency, their emotions are a wreck, they haven't slept. What you need in that moment, slash what is the best choice for you right then and there, might look very different than what the best choice would be for you if you were stuck at an airport or your meal prep went bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that sounds like a little bit broad for today's conversation, because it's like, okay, but what do I
But I
do?
think in a pivot situation, we need broad because
Yeah.
the problem is we get so tied to the plan or whatever we think our plan is that we aren't allowing that grace to come in with broadening the spectrum of what possibilities are.
Yeah, yeah. So number one, what's your goal? What's your why? Who is the person that you're trying to become? What decision would they make? Number two is literally come up with three different options that all serve you and the person you're trying to become. Ask yourself, what can I control in this moment to make any of those happen? And then, like, what is the best choice for me based off what I need right now? And a big thing I actually also want to emphasize here is be very careful. It's very easy for us to be on high alert, tired, fatigued, emotional, stressed, whatever it is, annoyed, and think that the best choice, or sorry, believe that the best choice for us meets our like desire to emotionally satisfy us, right?
Yes.
Because for a lot of us, the emotional choice that feels like the best is like, I'm just going to have this pizza. I'm just going to have this ice cream. I'm just going to go and get my favorite takeout. Who cares? Whatever. But is this truly the best choice based off of everything across the board?
Again,
What would
because
be,
it's that who are you trying to become, right? It's not who you used to be. And that usually defaults to the used to be versions of us.
yes, totally. So like I do want you guys to consider like, what is the best choice for me based off of my emotions, but that's not the only thing we consider.
And
What
that's
is
why
the
we're looking
best
at more than one choice, right? And kind of measuring them against each other.
exactly. What's the best choice for me based off my circumstance? What's the best choice for me based off of what my body needs? What's the best choice for me based off of either what I know is coming up maybe in the next couple of hours or what I've already been through in the previous couple hours? All of these things will actually help you figure out what is the best choice for me right now.
Mm-hmm. And I really like to, when these situations come up, pause because
Yeah.
I am a heated person. Something
Yeah.
happens, I am
Girl.
sky high, I am angry, whatever. I give myself a pause, close
Yep.
my eyes, breathe, ask myself, is this a reaction that I'm proud of? Probably not. Breathe through it and then come up with your choices. Because if you come up with your choices in the heat of the moment, they're probably going to be a little bit different than if you step back and go, okay, now we can do this.
Totally, totally, totally. There is definitely something that has been proven. Don't ask me for the study. I was just literally watching something about this, but where our body, our nervous system takes 90 seconds to recalibrate. So, literally, if you could apply this with anything in your life, a situation doesn't work out for you, you know, you're in a heated conversation with somebody, something rattled your cage, before you respond, can you wait 90 seconds? Because things will look very, very different if you do. So, yeah, hopefully that helps you guys, you know, from the pivot perspective, a couple of ways we analyze what can we do in this moment, what can we control, what's the best decision for us. But I think the big things as well that you guys need to take with you is that you have to remember that the thing that's stopping you from making more progress is not actually the one decision to eat off plan or the one day to eat off plan. It's the mindset of believing that you're a failure, you're stuck, you'll never see more progress. That is when you're going to spiral and give up. So always
Mm-hmm.
correct the mindset there. You know, come at everything with understanding, like truly, 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 because again, not all reasons for eating off plan are the same. And literally, no reason, again, is worth beating yourself up over. So we meet every opportunity with understanding for why things happened. And then again, use everything as a lesson, not as a loss When you come at it with that mentality, you will never lose, literally, no pun intended.
Yes, because if we view that as a lesson, that leads into that like growth mindset. Because a lot of the time I think when we have to pivot, we pivot and we pivot and we pivot instead of we pivot a little bit and then we go, okay, we're good. We can keep moving forward. Because if it's
Yeah.
that lesson moment, then it's like, yeah, I got through that. I'm proud of myself. And now I'm back to the tried and true or, whatever that looks like. And then it
Yeah.
stops becoming this huge downfall that you end up feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We all do it. Remember that. Like
Yes.
all of us, for whatever reason. Because again, there are many different reasons. All you need to do afterwards is get right back on plan. Nothing needs to change. You don't have to pull any foods out to make up for what you did have. You don't have to, remove foods the next day or whatever it might be. Or even from a workout perspective, like Nell said before, you don't have to stack workouts on top of each other. You have so many endless opportunities to continue on and continue making progress. So that's literally the only mentality you need to have here.
That's it. That's all.
Yeah.
Now, for those
Hopefully,
of you that clicked on this episode and were like, yeah, I'm going to learn how to cheat the plan.
yeah.
Sorry. I hope you learned
No,
something today.
yeah. And like go to 2 episodes before if that was your mentality and watch our episode on you need to stop cheating yourself. Because that's the other thing we got to work on. But she's short, she quick today. She's she's right on the mark. But as a little bit of a sneak peek, I think we know what our next topic episode is going to be, and it's a good one.
Yeah, I definitely agree. We actually discussed it for this one, and then we're like, no, we want to bring more to the table with that one.
Yeah, kind of. This one kind of plays off of our vacay episode from last week here, guys. But so for next week, a big thing we're going to be talking on is why actually focusing on your goals is not the thing that's actually going to help you get there, and instead we need to become obsessed with our habits instead of our goals. So we're going to
I'm
walk you guys
excited.
through. Yeah, me too. This that's going to be a good conversation because we're going to walk you guys through. I mean, where we're at now, but also literally how we got obsessed with our goals when we were both in like fat loss, muscle
Yeah,
building
because the habits that we were obsessed with have been constantly evolving, and
phase.
that's actually exciting. And I think
It is.
that's
Yeah,
why we want to talk about it, is because sometimes those habits change, and that can feel scary, right?
yeah, yeah, definitely. So we will see you guys next week for another episode. If you guys have seen the movie that I'm trying to reference with the like 9 or 11 different personalities, please message me.
Is that the
Or
one
put in the
with the
comments.
guy from X-Men?
Yeah, I think it is. I think
What
it
is his
is.
name?
I don't know.
I think I know the
I
one
can
you're talking
find
about,
them.
though. But
I
that
can look
should be our shtick, like figure out what movie we're
for
referencing because we
referencing.
do it all
And
the
like
time.
Samuel Jackson was in it. Oh, I think it's called Glass. I think it was
Oh,
called
maybe.
Glass.
Okay. Is that the one where
If
he has
I'm
like
correct.
one of the personalities is Patricia?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
okay. It is. That's the
Yeah.
only name I can remember. I do know the one you're talking about.
Yep, yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure it was called
If you
Glass.
know it, yeah. If we're correct and that's what it's called, post it in the comments.
Yeah, or Samuel L. Jackson's character was Glass. Anyways, whatever. I'll figure it out for next next week. All right, you
But if
guys.
you like what you heard here, share with your friends and family. Tag us on social media, all that good stuff. If you want to work with us, where can they find us?
Yeah, there's links for everything below, guys. Our social medias, the link to hop on a call with us, talk about joining our roster, what your goals are, what we can help you guys achieve. And like Nell said, if you guys share this, that always helps us out huge. Consider leaving us a 5-star review, and then we will see you guys for next week.
All right, love you guys.
Bye.